20. Welcome to episode 22 of the AWE series, which we have named Riding the Emotional Roller Coaster. Before we get started, let's do our prayers. Om. 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 Dear Baba, please think through us, please feel through us, please speak through us, please act through us, please breathe through us, and please love through us. And please guide us as we try to understand our emotions better, and as we try to understand our attachments and try to see the link between them. And please guide us as we try to regulate our emotions. Jai Sai Ram. So in the last few episodes, we've been talking about trying to be in the state of equanimity, right? We had talked about the benefits of being in that state, being free from attachment and anger and fear and so on. The last month, I came across a person, he's a doctor actually, by the name of Steve Young, and he talks about the law of hermetics. Without going much into the details, one of the laws is called the law of rhythm. And what he says that in nature, when you see, many things in nature has cycles, pattern or rhythm, right? Talk about day and night, the life cycle of a seed to a tree to a seed. The plan is going around the sun, and so many other things, right? So similarly, even our lives, they have their highs and their lows. And he says, think of your life as having multiple swings, right? And at one point you are on a swing, and so you can think of one of the extreme ends of that swing to be the the best moments of your life, your happiest joyous moments, and the other end of the swing to be the having the worst phase of your life. While one represents your strengths, the other might represent your weaknesses, right? And so we almost always try to cling on to the happy moments, right? And so if we are swinging on that swing, then the natural course is to come to the other end, but then we try to hold our, stop that swing. And it takes a lot of energy to stop that momentum, right? So that just gave me it was an aha moment, because the last few episodes we had been talking about all of that. But then, as Baba was, maybe he wants to teach us something. One of our close friends, his son, the youngest one, as he was going to school, as he was driving to school, and I mean, he just reached the school, and then he had a seizure. And so when the doctors checked, there was a cyst or tumor in his head that took about 12 hours of surgery. And so, for the family, their life has changed completely, right? Because now they have to undergo that recovery process. Is not, it takes a lot of time, I believe. So, and so, even if you try to take that example of a swing, you because I can see that the family has they've, at least one of the family members, they've just broken, right? They've collapsed amidst this situation. So I would like to welcome Brother Suresh Govind, and maybe just talk us through, how to get to the state of equanimity when these kind of disasters come, because they come unannounced, right? So just please throw some light on this, brother.
Yeah, I will do that. Sai Ram, very nice to see all of you. Sai Ram, so sorry. Some satsang came, some people came to my house, they're having some, I got carried away. So sorry. Okay, so this particular verse, if you look at this verse, it's so powerful. So I used to mentally be arguing with Krishna, Swami, and all, whose mind remain undisturbed, called misery, does not crave for pleasure, who is free from attachment. All this, all good, Swami. All this is very good, but it's also idealistic. Krishna theory is very idealistic. When something happens, like what you said just now, when something happens like that, surely we'll be affected. Surely we'll be under. Then how to be undisturbed? How to be disturbed? How not to be remaining continuously remaining the same? How do you do that? And I thought, then this insight came, and I thought this was the most powerful insight. Assuming now, if we struck with, let's say, somebody came and told you, lottery ticket, you won a lottery ticket. What is that? $1 million, 10 or $2 million, you strike. 2 million. I'm $2 million. Oh, I'm in euphoric ecstasy. I never dreamt of this thing. And then suddenly someone insults you. You couldn't be bothered with the insult. If someone praises you, yeah, okay, because you are dizzy with the heights of the amount of money that you got. Nothing seemed to be affecting you. Nothing seemed to be disturbed with you, isn't it? Just with $1-2 million itself, we are like that. Here, what they are saying is we have to transcend all the koshas, Annamaya kosha, Manomaya kosha, Vijnanamaya kosha, Anandamaya, all the koshas, and reach the Atma. At the Atma, it is 10 to the power of 18 happiness, 10 to the power of 18 happiness. If that level of bliss, which is far, far higher than even $1 million that you gain, that bliss, when it comes to that bliss, who will be affected by the world? Nothing is going to be affected. So really speaking, what this verse is telling, oh man, remain at this level, you will always be disturbed. But move towards experiencing the highest state of consciousness. You will be perpetually free from fear. You will have no anger coming into you because you are swimming in that beautiful ocean of bliss. That is the state that this particular verse is trying to go towards. It gives us, oh, if I receive the bliss, what will I get? You will be one whose mind remains very undisturbed, who is free from attachment, fear, and anger. Wow, this kind of bliss, when you're completely independent of the world for external happiness, you are one individual who is the power to reckon with. Nobody can disturb you. That is the state that Krishna is asking us to reach.
Okay. that seems so far away. But anyways, thank you,
Yeah.
brother.
No, but you see, okay, look at this. We're going to the gym, and Hrithik Roshan comes out of the gym, and he's got six-pack muscle, and you look at him and say, hey, it's so far away to get to your state. We always like, but how to get to the, unless we practice and practice, we can be like that. So like that anywhere in the world, that state is the state that we should reach. To look at the state from this level, yes, it appears to be very far, but that is a goal that we need to achieve, arrive at.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Brother Suresh, may I ask you something?
Yes.
And one time I was at the airport and Mrs. Ratanlal was there and she was waiting. And we were talking about attachment. And then she mentioned, one time a student was supposed to come and Baba was worried. He would go constantly to the door. Oh, he hasn't come. It's getting dark. He hasn't come. He hasn't come. When God himself feels worried about a student, how can we not feel worried about when we care about our children? Children are suffering or they're ill or miserable, or as this lady son had tumor. How can we not be worried and become a sage of a steady wisdom? And God himself worries. And he himself took birth to help us out when we are miserable. He calls us for interview. He gives us gyan. He has mercy on us and he loves us. So how can we, mere human beings, suddenly became sage of steady wisdom? That's a very difficult thing to do.
Yeah. So a sage from a steady wisdom comes from the fact that we must come out of our cage. See, the only difference between sage and cage is C and S. C is cage, S is sage. So how do you get out from this cage? So when Bhagavan is showing that particular thing, it is not that worry is entered into him. He just is demonstrating a concern. In fact, in many places also, sometimes in fact, I was told many times he himself has shouted at me, becoming angry. So the whole point of the thing is that it is not that he is worried. It is a demonstration of that when a man of steady wisdom always will be able to project a emotion for that particular occasion, that he's not swept away or carried away by that emotion, but at that appropriate moment, these emotions become an indicator for the particular situation. Likewise, supposing there's a dead body, we need to be said. We cannot be sage wisdom and go there and give a big Gita discourse when the body is there. So we have to appropriately respond to various situations, but we will not sink to the lower levels of emotion and get carried away in depression and all that. Yes, if someone is having cancer, but the worry has to be triggered into an action plan in your mind where you sit in your beautiful state of bliss and continuously radiate peace and happiness and love to that soul. That is a far, 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 far greater seva than being unnecessarily worried and agitated without any profitless. It is totally profitless, not only just for us, even for the patient that you're worried about. But if you have got this state, that is the best experience you can give, because you can connect to the Atma, his Atma, far better, and radiate peace and love and energy. That individual receives your grace like that through you. So that is how. So therefore, when we continuously practice this daily in our life, you will find you'll come to a certain stage in which you will not overly react to anything, but more or less respond to situations appropriately and correctly. That is the purpose of this particular verse.
One time in interview, it was very hard for me to say, but I said, Baba, I worry. I would never say that to anyone. I was always have this tough exterior. And he said, don't worry, worries are passing clouds. This too shall pass. But in spite of knowing that, in spite of him giving me that thing, I still continue to worry when it comes to my children or grandchildren, if they are not well, if they are not having health issues and those things. It's not been possible for me. I fully understand, what one should do and can do, but emotionally and psychologically, it's not easy. And I don't know, Mr. Govind, if you have any children. When it comes to children, grandchildren, it's very difficult. And I think you don't have any children, but I may be wrong.
No, I don't have children, but I have
See?
thousands of people. But no, but I know what you mean, sister, because seriously, recently also I was narrating the experience when my wife was almost passed away, almost died. She was in the intensive care unit, and doctors all were rushing her because she heart was only 12.5%. It was in the most distressful state of matters. I was sitting outside the theater, and everybody was so panicky and didn't know. At that time that I received a call from New Zealand asking me, brother, in 10 minutes you're supposed to be in the Zoom, you're supposed to do a leadership session for us. So I sat down thinking, okay, I am sitting outside the operation theater. What can I do? The doctors are all, I mean, everybody's inside there. What can I do? So I said, okay, so outside the operation theater, I was conducting a 1.5 hours leadership session, and that question was they were asking me is, how do you stay committed to the movement? How do you stay committed to the movement? So I was thinking, but therefore, Swami, the point is, we need to do the work that we need to do. Rightfully, we should be worried, but the worry should not overwhelm and engulf us to a point in which we are not able to do our normal actions. So even my father, when he passed away, Swami told me to stay back and do his work. He trained me in the sense that, why are you going back? You got 2 brothers and sister to do the funeral. You stay here and do that. That's what Swami did that. So when he did that, I trained the system to say that one part of the system must get, but the other part to be on the vision. In that sense, you equilibrate your mind towards not to worry. Now, for example, after all these study cycles, yes, that time you may have been worried so much. Now maybe the intensity of the worry may be lesser. The frequency of the worry may become lesser. Like that, slowly becomes that. By worrying, it does not mean responsibility. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Responsibility is respond with ability. But by worrying about it, it will drain our energy, and we may not be connected and anchored to the things, so that we must be able to continue to serve. In those people who really are supposed to be worried about, require a higher loving, serving energy from us. And that must come from the Atmic sense. So we must become calmer. We must then come anchored to what Swami Bhagavan, this is a problem. That's what I did in Swami. My Kala is in the hospital. She's there. This is this one. I'm going to do your work. I did like that, and I'm not asking anybody to do what I did it. I mean, not practically I have done this, and she's my if anything happened to her, I'm collapsed. That life belt is. So it's like that. Every point in life, we have to continuously develop our consciousness to that extent. And so this is all indicators. This whole chapter is about telling us where we are, what we are, and then practice and keep on practicing like that. So there will come a time and a state in which we will be able to do this nicely and beautifully. And in fact, you'll find more gratifying to do this because that is the best service you can do to any individual who requires our help instead of being worried. Most reaction will be to worry, but by worrying, it won't help in any matter, in any way. Worry is just a mind reaction to the whole thing. So once we have that control, then the mind will not dissipate its energy towards these things.
I fully understand what you're saying, Brother Govind.
Yeah.
We know that intellectually, sensibly, we understand all this, but it is very difficult. One can understand parents leaving because we know they're going to leave before us usually. And even spouse, one can take it. But children and grandchildren is very, very difficult. And I don't think you will be able to understand that because you don't have that experience. I'm not trying to negate what you're saying. You're saying is very sensible. I know that, but it's hard. So,
But sister, I had this experience last life.
I'm sure I'm sure I had this experience in many, many lifetimes, but who knows?
Okay.
Thank you so much. I appreciate what you're saying.
Yes, brother, all about attachments. So let's go. We did talk about the benefits of not being attached and all of that, but let's just take this time, at least for Sister Nalini. We know she's attached to her children and grandchildren.
Aren't
So let's
you?
just. I am.
Oh,
I
why
am.
mention me? Say we are all attached. Whoever has children or grandchildren, they will be attached. It's
Truly, true.
impossible unless they are
That's
saved.
yes, that's very
by the
true.
way, by the way, I just want you to know the word attachment. Attachment does not mean don't love. Attachment means love everybody as much as you can, but don't expect them to return the love or don't expect them to look after. So when you do like that, then attachment comes in. But when I just have the object, just love, just care, just do like that, then that's what spiritual love is all about. So don't ever come to a point where you everyone who's affected remain detached, no anxiety, no problem, nothing. Then there's something not right with the way in which we have interpreted the spiritual meaning of the word attachment.
Yeah.
You see, drug problems are there. We can keep quiet. I instituted the DARTS program, this program, that program, pushing the youth. Why? Because we must respond to the situation of the world. Why Swami can remain totally unattached to anything, and the people can die of arsenic poisoning in his village. He said, "No, I'll sell my ashram if to do the water project." What is that? Respond. He didn't sit down there, "Oh, my people are dying." He didn't do that. It was a response. And the response created the biggest water project ever in India to do that. So our job as spiritualists is to respond with ability to address the issues of our family, society, and nation. And when we do that beautifully and wonderfully and dedicate all actions, that is a spiritual life.
Yes. So we ask our participants to just think about your attachments. Here I've said object of attachment, but anything that you're attached to. So kindly just type in your responses in the chat box and maybe Anusha can read out the answers. Kids definitely, grandkids definitely. What else?
We have goals, expectations, to be liked by everyone, money,
Yeah, true.
personal cell phone, your own body,
Yes.
money, wealth, body consciousness, fame, parents.
Okay, yes, very true. Very true.
Friends.
Friends, yes. So then let's take a few moments to think about our object of aversion. What is it that we try to run away from? And again, please type in your answers.
Failure, relationships, negative feelings.
I personally try to, stay away from big crowds where there are lots of strangers.
Uncertainty.
Yeah. Should we move on then?
Conflict, change. Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Yes. Change is one thing that, many people run away from. So, brother, coming back to you now, why is it, why do we get attached? And I know that, for this shlokas, they talk about the senses and all that, but what's your perspective? Why do we get attached?
You see, all the time what happens is in our individual psyche, actually by right, we are supposed to feel full, completely, totally full. That's why we have Guru Purnima. Purnima means fulfillment, totally full like that, experiencing fullness. But whenever there is that fullness is not experienced because there is a vacuum, there is an emptiness, there is a certain part. We look at the outer world to compensate for the aspect that we don't have. It's like a jigsaw piece of puzzle. The world has one small piece of jigsaw puzzle that we are searching to fit into so that we become whole. Example, we become attached to work. So why you become attached to work? Because it is in the workplace that I'm getting recognized. So you're actually not working, but you're looking for recognition. So now you must go back and say, why are you looking for recognition? Or and that is how in healing and psychology, we look back at it and they find out, oh, in childhood, you never got it, or this, you never got it. So at least you're getting it here. Therefore, this, whenever people say your work is good, I feel happy. So those pieces gets fitted inside here. Some parents are attached to the child because child, you must become a doctor because I never got a chance to be a doctor. So I can translate my ambition to you. And so when you achieve it, it's like me achieving it. You see, can you see it? So it's like a jigsaw pieces fitting inside, and we become very attached to the piece of my emptiness that I feel in the world outside. That's how I get locked into those things that we have in the world. So when we become spiritually aware and become spiritually evolved, we fill up that empty spaces that we have created with ourselves, which is why Bhagavan is orientating us to go selflessly work, go to seva, go here, go there, do organization, keep on doing it because there's no more reason for us to do. When we can do anything in the world without a reason to gain or without a reason, we are fulfilling. Then you find you are getting to more, you are transcending. What are you transcending? All the five koshas to reach the innermost Atma. Once we reach that Atma and continuously connect to that, that is our pathway to enlightenment. So this is why we get attached to the world. So sometimes we have to question that if you're so attached to something, why is it? Do you know some people are so attached to cars? One small scratch, my God, they will be, it's amazing. This they can keep on talking about that scratch in that particular car. This happened there. They know the exact direction. They know the exact. It's such a big. They can create a Puranic story of that scratch that the car that they've reached there. But that's because they want that car. So you question. I always had fun I always had enjoyment to listen. Why you're so this car? What does this car mean to you? How does this car mean? So that car, I never had a car. It was such a big thing. And then finally, after so many years, I've attached. So the car becomes a symbol of his achievement, his symbol. See, like that. So this is how the mind works in the world. This is how the mind engages. And the senses, what they do is that they become a victim. They continue to feed the mind all the information in the world. And then the interpretation process that is in our mind, oh, this is important to me, this is not important to me. So the processing take place like that. So in the processes, finally, we conjure up that whole aspect, and this is our personality. This personality is how we nurture and keep this personality intact. That is why sometimes we have to pull out. That's why Swami said, love my uncertainty. You go somewhere, you do something, and nothing works for you, love my uncertainty. Don't simply conform to what the mind is telling you. This is the programming that takes place to reprogram ourselves to achieve that fulfillment that we do. So this is why the mechanism of attachment becomes like that.
Yeah, brother. So well said. And also, like, when we are on the spiritual path, I feel like, as we are progressing, we say, okay, this is right, this is wrong, this is good, this is bad. And sometimes we even tend to get attached to the rites, isn't it? Like, okay, at the temple we go, we expect people to be dressed in a certain way, and everybody's well dressed, and somebody comes and, they are not appropriately dressed, and immediately they're like, oh my God, they don't know they're at a temple, they should be dressed that way. That means like my mind has, it's drifted away from that state of equilibrium. That's also some kind of belief I'm attached to, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And you find that like when you go and visit a king, you will not go in the shorts, right? When you're going to visit the king or the queen or anywhere like that, you won't. So like that, the consciousness is that if there's God supreme, the one, the owner is sitting there in the thing, and you're going to see him in the throne, then how we dress is not dress for the temple. That is how we are presenting ourselves in our best to him, because that is in the consciousness of that individual. Having seen this, you see, what we did was, having seen all some of these things that the youth didn't know, that is why we introduced, for many, many years, we went around Australia, we went to many, many countries, UK, Canada, and talked about tradition, religion, and culture. We spoke about these things to remind the youth that this is how we should do. So you see, we are responding with ability. We are analyzing the situation, but we're not judging anybody, but we're educating people, because that gives us an opportunity to be responding the thing. And after that, in Australia, when we go, 600 youth will come, 500 youth will come, and they will come in their traditional costume, All of them will wear veshti, white vestis. The ladies will wear sari with the flower. They all be traditionally dressed, and will be doing, and they will be cooking. Can you imagine the cooking? They don't cater. The girls will cook in the daytime, and then nighttime, the boys will cook for dinner. So traditional cooking. So those kind of things were done as a response to certain things that we see that is not in equilibrium. So we are not judging, but we are responding to what people may not know. So I'm going to say that it's not because they are like that. It's just that they didn't know. So if they didn't know, then it's our responsibility to educate. Like that. That's how spiritual people should do.
Right.
May I share something on this? There was this, my parents used to live at Prashanti, and there was another lady who used to live at Prashanti, and daughter had come. And the daughter belonged to a very rich family. They had buses and, things, and they had a lot of money. So when Baba called her, she was dressed in a cotton sari, white cotton sari. And Baba admonished her. She said, "Why have you come like a beggar? I have given you so much. And you are dressed like a beggar. You don't have any bangles. You're wearing a cotton sari. You should dress according to your position." So, it's one of those things I thought is worth mentioning.
Nice.
Thank
That means
you.
the best. In other words, when we go to God's place, or when we go and see spiritual, or when you see our gurus and masters, how we want to present is that aspiration in us to do that. It is an example, Advaita. I know you mentioned it's just an example, but the example is just to be the best where you are, in order to manifest the best that you can do. That's the general vibration. So that kind of thing. So whenever we see anything in the world which has got a slight imbalance, I always see that, okay, the means time has come, something that we must do. We must respond to that. This is what I would think like that.
Yes, brother. Okay. Thank you, brother. And let's move on. Let's just go through the life cycle of attachment. Like brother mentioned cars. So I have this example of car here. So let's think like, imagine we have a neighbor who's, driving a very fancy car, and he's living right across the street. And so, of course, you see once, you see twice, but then you see every time he's opening the garage, we're opening the garage. And so, maybe he takes us out on a test drive or something. And so, obviously, the thought starts, telling us stories like maybe we could own that someday. And there is emotions playing out. But when there is this repetition, right, constant repetition, then what happens is that desire now becomes a burning desire. And before we know it, we've already become attached to it, right? This is just an object. And then Krishna talks about, these desires and these senses that torment the mind. And that these senses are so turbulent that even they can forcibly carry away the mind, even of a person who's endowed with discrimination, or the one who practices self-control, right? And so then what he says is that when they keep their minds absorbed in me, can they subdue their senses, right? And so again, this is just a belief system also, right? The way we are attached to something, we also tend to run away from these things. Like as a child, I always feared cows, because I was living in a joint family where every kid used to tell me, like, cows don't like the color red. And so that terrified me, because my mind is thinking about that. And like just 5 minutes away from my house, there was this open space where they were actual cows, right? And so one day I was wearing red and passing that place, and so I see a cow behind me, and I was holding on to my mom's hand, and I just pulled her and I ran away like crazy, thinking that the cow was charging at me, until like to a point where she had to like literally scream and make me stop. And I looked back, there was no cow, right? And later after many years after I grew up, I researched that, and I found out that cows are actually colorblind. So these belief systems, we learn it from our childhood, and there's so many reinforcements, that repetition that goes on, that there's a belief system, and it gets soaked in our subconscious. Like the conscious mind, it just stops thing. When we stop thinking, it's no longer there. But the subconscious, it takes in all our images, thoughts, and then it creates its own stories, and the beliefs, it creates that belief system. It's stored there, and then we react, right? Sometimes consciously, sometimes unconsciously. And the worst part, I think, is that these beliefs get passed down. Sometimes parents say it out loud, but then I think sometimes it's also there in their emotional and their uh, mental koshas that just get passed on to kids, uh, even unconsciously, right? And then the second part of the shloka, verse 62 from chapter 2, says attachment leads to desire, and from desire arises anger, right? Taking that same example. Now let's think, like, we are attached to that. We want that car, but then there's an obstacle. Like the husband says to the wife that maybe we should get a car too. And the wife is like, no, but we already have 2 cars. We don't need another car, and then immediately it's an obstacle, to that desire. So what arises out of that is anger, right? So then the following shloka says that anger leads to clouding of judgment, which results in bewilderment of memory. And when memory is bewildered, the intellect is destroyed. And when the intellect is destroyed, one is ruined. So when this anger like sits on your judging capacity, right? So what happens? Like we cannot think straight. What is right? What is wrong? And so I've seen, like, when people get so angry, they forget where they are, their relationship, what good the other person had done, and they are like blabbering on top of their voices. And so it feels like they've forgotten all of that. And the shloka also says that, the intellect gets destroyed. So, brother, could you, because I think every part of the shloka is important, can you just tell us the difference between this clouding of judgment and that intelligence that gets destroyed? What is that? What is the connection of the role? Yeah.
So Baba said there are 2 types of thing. One is called Medha Shakti, one is called Buddhi Shakti. So when you say Medha Shakti is all the analyzing, judgment, this is the intelligence. This is the normal intelligence that people have with regarding to the memory, to the facts that they can recall, they can memorize. So therefore, this is the normal intelligence. So clouding of judgment means your inability to literally connect to the higher sources, ability to connect to facts, all that comes in. But what is also referring to is, as a result of the anger, your buddhi shakti will get lost. So your buddhi means wisdom. So there's a difference between intelligence and buddhi, because buddhi is the quintessence of Atma. It's at the very subtler levels of our human personality. So when the buddhi shakti gets clouded, what happens is we even forget that we are human beings. That is why sometimes in anger, we start to stab people, hit people, do all kinds of nonsensical things, and later regret. We turn to be even more demonic than animals also at certain points in real anger. And we forget that, hey, you have got culture, you've got the human beings, their pain, all this is forgotten because you're so disconnected from the fact that you have that buddhi. So more and more people, when you become continuously angry, keep on being angry, your buddhi shakti becomes diminished. When buddhi diminishes, your connectivity to the Atmic consciousness will become lesser and lesser and lesser. Which is why, if you notice in the Puranic stories where the rishis, in the Puranic story, when the sage in anger announces a curse, he has to go to the mountains and sit for meditation and get tapas to get back the original power or original strength that he has had. Because each time we become angry, this strength and this inner endowment will go down. So this is very critical for us to remember that anger is a quality that actually diminishes a lot of our inner power. So all these mantras, Swami said in one discourse, 3 months of japam, which you do, Rama, 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 3 months, the merits that you accumulate for 3 months is burned in one anger. Each time you become angry, these 3 months are gone. So therefore, it is critical for us to remember that we should not be. So how not to be? Then we have to continuously practice. But that person who's irritating me has also got God in him. And we continuously have this kind of programming in our mind in order for us not to be angry.
Yes. Thank you. So now we'll go to our breakout rooms and analyze our emotions. So we have two main emotion categories. One is anger, one is fear. And I think Anusha will divide you into one of these two rooms, and we'll be discussing these questions. So
this is a very self-reflecting question, dear brothers and sisters. It's important for us to see where is the source of anger and why we get angry. So once you get to the root cause of that anger, you move away from the subjective to the objective. Once you get focusing on the objective, you start to analyze. This analyzing is very, very critical for us to find out where is the root. That is what this workshop is all about. Once you uproot the root, you'll find that these things won't repeat itself, or the intensity of that particular emotion will become lesser. So it's a very important breakout session. Yeah. Okay.
Anusha, can you please?
Yeah, I'm opening the rooms now.
Okay.
Sister Selena is married.
Mr. Shivani, you want to go? You're muted.
Saira. So in our room, we were talking about anger, and our participants were not so interactive. So one sister, Smita, she was telling about her, and she's saying like she's a disciplined lady, and when the things are not on track, then she really gets angry. And then how often? She said not like so often, but yeah, sometimes she does. Then she said like nowadays I'm changing my perspective. Like why am I get angry? Why I'm getting angry? So I try to understand the point of view from other person's perspective. And she said when I see their perspective, then it calms me down. And then we were talking like why we get angry. So she was saying like yeah, it is the trigger. What triggers us, we should be ready to know like what is triggering us and how to calm ourselves from all that. So that's it, Sairam.
Who wants to go next? Saidata?
We had a couple of new people in our group also, which was nice and it was a good interaction with everybody. Our topic was fear. And again, where it comes from was something common that we found was conflict, the fear of unknown, the fear of change. That is something that makes you go out of your comfort zone. And why it happens? Because the end result is something that you don't have control over, or the expectations, because you want the things to turn out a certain way, but then it does not. So that is one thing. And And again, the fear of unknown is the part that had some repetitions also. And it's not just the big thing, even the regular small little things where you see so many negative things in news and outside in social media. And then when you are alone at night, sometimes those negative thoughts come, and then that also arises some fear, right? And the ways some people have tried to overcome it is to dwell on the things that have gone right for them, to think about the positive things more, and that is how you equipped yourself to deal with the fear. But again, there was one thought that was carried throughout the session was, it is not something that completely goes away. It's just you make yourself more educated you through these sessions, and you make yourself well equipped to handle it better. Sairam.
Thank you. Sai Prasanna.
Sister Aarti will speak for our group.
Sairam. Okay, so our topic was on fear, and I'll put my video on. Sorry, I don't know how. Okay, so our topic was on fear, and different people had different things that they were fearful of. Gita talked about having fear of four-legged creatures and like animals like dogs or cats. It was the same for her. But she realized over time that she became like a witness and had awareness of her emotions and the consequences of what would happen if she just continued with this fear. She would lose friends and not be able to keep her friendships with and so she learned how to adjust, and she observed that through Swami's teachings to see that God is residing in these animals. And so over time she could see improvement, that she could spend a whole day with like one dog for an example. And so she had control over her reaction to this dog. So that was just one example. Then there's Rajit talked about just an overall fear of not being enough, not, this inner feeling of this not being successful or enough. So it kind of infuses in all his aspects of his life. As a result, he could see that all his behaviors, the root cause is some sort of feeling of inadequacy, fear, and all that. And it probably comes from his childhood and a feeling coming from scarcity, and probably overhearing in the homes being discussed about it, like, oh my God, if I don't do this, something bad will happen. So that feeling of being relaxed and surrendered to Swami is a challenge. And even though Swami keeps saying over and over again that he's a doer, it's very hard to let go of that doership. So that doership is creating a lot of fear. For another person, Jagdish, she talked about cobra and snakes, cobra as an example, especially coming from childhood. And he knows that he doesn't know where exactly it came from, but what has helped him over time is reading like the Sai Charitra, where many, many stories are told about the snake. And Swami at one point says, they will not bite unless it's his will. So like reading Swami's literature and by continuously recalling Swami's words has given him faith and has really reduced that feeling of fear to a feeling where you have that feeling of why fear when I'm here, and it doesn't overtake his thoughts too much anymore. Shobna talked about losing loved ones and especially parents, and it's always in the subconscious part of the back of the mind. It varies from time to time, but having spiritual involvement and understanding of Swami's teachings and his plan has helped her handle it with the right tools. She just constantly listening to Swami's words has given her strength. Some days are better than others. It's a little hard because she's away from family, so there's a little bit of guilt, but constantly remembering why fear when I'm here has helped her. For Bharat, he's from, I think, Dallas or that area, and the news that happened like in Dallas recently shook him up quite a bit, and So incidences that are happening in the world can have an impact on us, and we worry about our loved ones. So, what kind of society am I living in? So that kind of community, that fear of this world that we're in. Sai Prasanna talked about fear of sin, and how if one family member does something, how it can affect how it can affect karmically for the rest of us. We got cut off. And I spoke about being alone, but I feel over time that feeling has gone down by just focusing more on Swami. And the more and more I connect with Swami, the more and more I feel less alone. So it's really gone down, Sairam.
Thank you. Just a reminder to all our facilitators and those who are summarizing to not take names of people. Just say somebody said this, somebody said that. Maybe people would not want to share their names. I mean, want their names being shared in the main room, just for that purpose. But thank you for your summary.
Lakshmi is presenting from our room.
Okay.
Sairam, everybody. We had a very active group. Everybody had great thoughts. It was interesting. The sister who started off talked about how when we have a lot of issues, especially something societal issues, and you feel helpless, how thinking that Swami will not ever allow anything into our experience that is not good for us. And when we think like this, there is, there's much more acceptance. We are not fighting it. So we started on a very good note like that. Another sister had to share something about righteous anger, about how when we feel something wrong is going on, we know that's not right what is happening, but then we take it forward and think about what step can I take, small step can I take to change this. So it's no longer about the other party doing something wrong, but it's more about us doing something right. Then another sister talked about how sometimes we are in situations where we are always on the receiving end of anger, and we try to get out of it, but it doesn't happen. And then what do? But then over time, we devise strategies to handle it gracefully, and we measure ourselves against our previous selves and see how far we have come, and we could keep getting better and better. Then another sister again talked along similar lines about how we tend to get frustrated when we don't get the perfection that we desire from people, especially when it comes to children. One tends to have certain expectations, and when they don't fulfill it, they, as parents, sometimes we tend to feel disappointed. So how do we handle that? By knowing that they have their own paths and helping them when we can, and at other times just letting them go ahead and learn from their own challenges. Then another sister talked about thinking of situations when things happen in your space. You think of it as, for anything that happens in my space is because they are mirroring me. So what in me can I purify so that the other person stops mirroring me? If I want the mirror to be good, what can I change in myself? So it becomes a process of introspection. And then again, measuring, instead of getting disappointed and saying, oh my God, why is this happening again and again? I've changed so much. Why is this not going away? Knowing that, there is still some bit of imperfection. So I need to keep working. I need to keep working. Then another person talked about meditation as a tool to get beyond all this. And another person talked about how some of these things are like stubborn weeds. Even when you pull them, I mean, if you cut it off at the surface, for sure it'll come out in 2 days. If you pull it out, sometimes even then they come back, but you get more of a reprieve. Then another sister talked about using Phyllis crystal tools to to heal ourselves from these situations and these emotions that are bogging us down. And then another sister talked about a beautiful story about Meera and Krishna, which I'll quickly share. Meera, I hope I got this right, but the sky is cloudy, and Meera says, "Why is it that I'm not able to see the beauty of the sky?" And then Krishna says, Krishna says, "We'll see." And then Meera experiences a lot of problems come her way. And as she solves those problems, she realizes that the sky is clearing up. So it is a metaphor for how when we clean up ourselves, our reality changes.
True. Thank you. Thank you so much. And my room was more about anger, and I think like everybody else, we talked about our angers, and while it seemed like we want, some of us want perfection, some of them we get angry because people are not following the rules, right? But when we go deeper, we find that we are attached to there's a mix of fear and anger. Let's say somebody is going to the sauna, and then there is rules written, but people don't follow the rules, right? uh, so you're not only angry, there is that you can go and complain, right? But then there are so few people, it's very easy that they can point, they can figure out who you are, right? Okay, you were the one who complained. So that fear does not allow them to go forward and complain, right? So there is this fear, this intermingling of fear and anger. But then on the outside, we don't think of that insecurity. Like we just say, oh, they are not following the rules. So that's it. So I think we have to go deeper. Then I think there was one person who said like she has improved in the sense like she's not vocal, but then in her mind she's still running her anger inside her, right? So I think is still dangerous. Brother, what do you think? Like, we all have these anger, but then we try to suppress it, right? Or not, let's not say suppress, but then not being vocal about it, but then you're still, getting angry internally. I think that is still dangerous, but yeah, I want to hear your thoughts about that. But it seems like we are while the external cause might look different, it's something different. Like when you see so much of horror happening outside, inside it could just be like, oh, I fear the security of my child who goes to a school, and what might happen. So there's so much going underneath. So I think it just seems so overwhelming, and the question was that for everything it seems like these attachments are valid. So how do we go about it?
Yeah. So number one, Saira, very nice presentations, very nice finding. As I went to the workshop, they're so good in bringing out so many points. See, like one brother was saying that we cannot escape fear, because fear is a reptilian, is an animalistic thing that's inside our brain. And that is how people survived. That's how animals survive. And so we have evolved from that. So we also have to have an element of it. But Krishna's Gita, in one of the first quality that Krishna has mentioned is the hallmark of a spiritualist is to be fearless. So the first quality, a series of qualities, first one is fearless. If we have fearlessness, that means it is an expression of confidence. So in other words, when we have fearless, we have confidence. And Swami said, self-confidence is the first step to self-realization. So really speaking, and we asked Swami, how you develop that confidence is to have faith. So when we have faith in God, means God will be there. If you want to look at it, look at all the things that you had previously fearful for. Certain things you had fear, right? What are the things that you had fear? And then you look at the circumstances that went by and it has passed by. The fear that you had was there, but the event passed by and somehow something happened and everything went well. Then what was the reason for that fear? So you can see that fear, therefore, is just an emotion in anticipation of certain things that you're not sure of. But the hand of Satisai will always be there to help. That awareness that his hand will always be there is what is called faith. So if you are not having that, the flip side of the coin is fear. So just increase the faith in the Lord that he will look after, he will be aware, and he will do. Like recently we had this conference here in Malaysia, for 800 people came, then another 200 people came. We had to put the chairs, foot was not enough. There were a lot of behind, of course, the front people didn't see what was happening, but behind there was a lot of things that was happening. But the fact is, Swami's grace, we don't worry, just do the right thing. Everything fell at the right place at the right time. The hand of Satisai moved it like that. So there was no unnecessary fear, because it is his program. He will know what to do. We are just dummy pieces. We just follow what he is trying to say and we get it done. So that awareness that there will be somebody all the time guiding us and taking us there must become an intrinsic nature of every individual. That is to overcome fear. Then to overcome anger, I asked Swami Chinmayanda once, because Swami Chinmayanda, when he does his Gita classes, he gets sometimes very annoyed and upset. I get very angry. I get very upset when I see him upset. So I wrote him a letter. Dear Swamiji, I love you so much. Why do you get angry? And all that. I wrote a letter. He wrote back to me, he wrote to me. I still have the letter with me. Dear Suresh, he said, exact words, you must get into anger, but don't let anger get into you. Contemplate on this. Any more data if I give you, I will be only insulting your intelligence. I still remember those words. I'll still be insulting you. So you must get, like, for example, the child is playing in the rain. Come inside here. You come inside here. Otherwise, you're showing a very face, but you're not. It is just an act that you're projecting. That's okay. But you don't have to emotionally feel that anger, and you come here. If you don't come here, I'll kill you and all that. You don't need to go to that extent. So anger can be what is called a righteous anger which you project, but you're not feeling it. This. That's why Swami said life is a game. You have to play the game. So it's something, I won't get angry. I will not, not like that. I have my students also, my PhD students, so many of them. So certain things are not there in the right. They will know from my face that I'm unhappy. I will and I am a very good actor. So I will project that anger in my face and I'll look very grumpy. It's okay. It's okay. I mean, this is all that you can do. I mean, what else can I expect? It's okay. It doesn't matter. They'll feel very, they'll feel very slighted, and then they'll go out and repair and everything and come back and show it. So it is necessary. A righteous anger is necessary to put things into discipline. But you don't need to be emotionally upset and this one and grieve and suicidal and all that. That's not necessary. So there is always a way to project your anger. Righteous anger is okay, but don't get to become ingrained, that anger becomes an innate nature of our individual. That is what we should be aware of. So because this critical thing, why they are asking us to do all these things is because they've got an ulterior motive. You must understand this agenda behind all this. What is agenda? They want you to get to the Atma. That's all. Their journey is only that. Man must equal to God. And how to get to God? Man must experience Atma. I can't get to Atma, Bhagavan, because you have covered me with Annamaya Kosha, Pranamaya Kosha, Vijnanamaya Kosha, Manamaya Kosha. All the koshas unnecessarily have covered me, isn't it? That is why Swami said, that is what I told you from the start. What did I say? Atma Sarupalara, Atma. You are Atma. Atma, I'm telling you. Did I call you by your name? Did I call you by your country that you come from or your position? I didn't tell. I said to you what you are. What is it? Atma Sarupalara, Prema Sarupalara. But you're covered. So now you are the embodiments. That's why I use the word embodiments of the divine Atma. So I said, I'm very clear. I'm very specific. I'm a scientist also. I'm very specific in my definitions of who you are. Your job is to peel the embodiments and get connected. But what is stopping us? Fear and anger. These two things will come in. So understand these are the signals, and for me to peel away all these things so that I can get to my core. That is the purpose of this entire experience. So if you can argue, oh, I get worried, oh, I'm angry, oh, it's okay. You can have a very righteous way of justifying that emotion, but a tire is a puncture, that's all. I went there, I couldn't understand my tire. Fine, your tire is punctured, you can't drive the car, that's all. So full stop, period. So you have to change the tire. What he's telling is, don't get the tire punctured, keep on running it nicely, go in the right places so that you can use the car for a long periods until you get your destination. That is what the scriptures are screaming and telling us what to do. Yeah.
So for homework, what do you suggest, brother? We continue to analyze our emotions and our
So for homework now, by the time we come back next week, next month, you decide, you use these two, put a table, fear, anger. How many times in a day, what are you really fearful of? You see, today you have analyzed your fear. Where is it coming from? You start to think. You see, nobody thinks about these things. They think, but we need, why did you get angry? Oh, I have my expectation. Then who are you to expect? And then if you expect, did you actually tell the other people also to expect the same thing? How much time have you spent? This is what I tell my lecturers when I have, my student is failing me. Your student is not failing you. You have failed the student, I always tell. Why? I told them, yes, you told them. How many times you told them? You told them once, you told them twice. Did you tell them 100 times? Did you explain to them the way they understood? Did you emotionally relate to them? Or did you intellectually convey to them? Did you sit on the high and mighty chair of a professor and then convey like that? Or did you actually travel in the path and find out what is exactly the issue? Did you do that? That's why Baba said, come experiment me, experience me, then accept me. Experience, they must experience your presence, then they will understand what you're telling, and then they will do what you're telling. If they don't understand and they don't experience, how can they follow you? So therefore the rectification is there. That is where the problem is. So this is what, in our, I'm the final board where people fail, and then all the deans will come and appeal. My student must pass, please pass. I always used to say, already your students are failing. Then what did you do? So no, we inform. How did you inform? How many times you telephone? I go to the detail. How many, and did they come? They did not come. So if they did not come for that thing, then what did you do? The failure of the student is the failure of the teacher, full stop, period. Nothing else. I always say like that. Accountable. So they always will get scolding because you did not do your job. Your job of a teacher is to convey, to communicate, and there is a problem, you should address that issue. You didn't address, and today you're begging here, coming here and begging them, please pass my student, please go through, simply because you did not do your homework. Like that, we must we must understand what is the emotion and take precautions to make sure that certain things are not repeated. That is the reason why we have emotions. It's like petrol. If you go to the E, you have to go to the petrol tank. But you interpret E to be enough, then you won't go to a petrol tank. Why was it stuck in the highway? Didn't you go to the petrol? No, I thought E means enough. That's for petrol was enough. Therefore, I didn't go to the petrol tank. So your interpretation was wrong. So when your interpretation is wrong, you get stuck in the petrol, and then you blame God. Oh God, why like this? Why I'm stuck like this? I don't know why I'm fated to be like this. I have suffer in life. I suffer. You suffer because you did not know how to interpret the E, which means empty. You have to go to the petrol. Like that, we have to be very aware. Consciousness is to become aware of where the limitations are, where the signs are, and proactively work our life to redeem ourselves. This is what the purpose of our existence is. And sometimes we are blind. That's why I need all of you. Why I need all of you? Because you say certain things which is very powerfully reminds me that I should improve my life. Like that, satsang is very powerful. Sometimes I'm in my blind spot. So when you say certain things, then I remember certain things what some people have said. So it's a reminder for my own improvement as well. So we collectively improve ourselves so that the nail does not get into my tire and my car can keep on running. So, yeah.
May I share something, please?
Sure, please.
One time I was at Vrindavan, this was during the summer showers, and Baba came and gave a discourse to the devotees, regular devotees. And he said, I'll protect my devotees like the eyelids protect the eyeballs. You'll always have food in your belly. You'll have clothing on your shoulders. You'll have a roof on your head. And I always remember that. It's such a sense of, comfort to know that he said it. And he was very adamant about it.
I'm in you, I'm around you, I'm above you, I'm inside you. See, these words, I will protect you as this must be like a mantra. The moment I listen to that word, if I understood what should happen, fear should evaporate from me. Fear should evaporate from me. Number two, second thing is what should evaporate? Worry. Hey, Bhagavan, this is your children, okay? I'm just a custodian of your children. You look after them. I'm just, that's it. That's finally come to a point. Everything is yours. That's why they say, take my everything and let me do my. You remember the last final prayer? What is it? Take my everything. I always used to see people, devotees saying, like, take my everything and let me be doing my work for you. Okay, take my. That means what? If so God comes down, take the house, my husband, car, everything, take away. Then will you be happy, Swami? No, I didn't mean that. You are the one who said, take my everything. Now take everything and my job, give me your job, salary, job, reputation, everything, give. Take. Suppose he takes everything away and goes, Bhagavan, why are you taking it? You prayed, you just now said, take my everything. Bhagavan, what he meant is, take my everything, take my I and my. If I take those two things, if I take away, nothing is mine anymore in the world. Why nothing is mine? Why should I worry? Why should I be upset? Nothing is mine. It is yours. Your child I look after. This spouse that you have given me is you gave me as a gift. I will look after. House is yours. Work is yours. Job is yours. Car, everything is yours. I'm a temporary individual given a chance to live in the world of your world. For what purpose? To realize my Atma. If I can come to that jnanam, that knowledge, that's it. I'm redeeming my life already. Then I go to work, someone insults me. Oh, thank you, Swami. My karma is over. Finish. If my mother-in-law keeps on insulting me, thank God, Swami. Thank you so much for punishing me like this, for giving me a horrible mother-in-law, because I must have done something in my past life. So now she has come back. Good. I'm redeeming my life. I'm redeeming. Just call me, insult me, continue insulting me. Feel happy and proud that your karma is being washed away. So when you have that kind of attitude, you are ready. This is the liberation. This is the part. Even those Swamijis who go up to get knowledge from Swamijis, do you know how much their Swamijis, the teachers will insult the Shishyans? How insulting they will be. They will insult like anything, and they want to see how you react, how you respond. So the world will always give us unnecessary problems, but the problems are always necessary for us to improve and see how we can refine our personality so that we can finally reach to the core. This is their objective. That's all. Final objective of Bhagavan, final objective of all masters is you must achieve your Atma, which is fulfillment and completeness. The rest of the thing all will be incidental, but this is the real purpose why we have come. Once you get this purpose real, you will embrace problems. You will embrace everything in this world and take it as prasadam.
Thank you, brother. That was so beautifully said. Thank you, everyone. I think we had a wonderful satsang today. We are beyond our time limit. So thank you all for staying back. We'll just stop with Om and Three Shantis. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sai Ram, everyone. Thank you all.
Jai Sai Ram.
Hi, Ram. Thank you very much.
Sai Ram. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
You again.
Sai Ram.